Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys can join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad that you all can be with us. We're about to connect with our friends over on Instagram. I see that they're up and ready for us. They were having some tech issues earlier. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon. Excited to welcome back our next guest. She's joining us as we are now celebrating Prime Days here on Amazon. So I'm excited for you guys to be able to see her new books that she has out. One of them is out since the last time we had her on, and we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Ware Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. You guys know we've been live a lot this week. As of course, there's a lot of great deals going on Amazon this week, but also a lot of great conversations. So if you guys have not followed us already, make sure you guys hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the books and the show by our next guest. Dr. Velma Bagby is back with us today. She's the author of a lot of books, including The Catch No One Wants. You guys see there her book, Hold Your Head Up, Princess. And also she has a brand new book that is out since the last time she was on with us called Dr. Velma Talks. I'm going to highlight it for you guys over on the Amazon side. I'm going to talk to her about that, the new season of her show by that name, and also let you guys know how to stay connected with her. Dr. Velma, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thanks, Cyrus. It's a pleasure to be here.
Look, the pleasure is definitely all mine. Hello to you, Wendy Arsad, over there
Hey,
on
Miss Wendy.
IG. Wendy says, I was getting ready to take a nap. But,
Oh, I'm sorry, Wendy.
well, well, Wendy, you didn't need that nap right now. You didn't need it. It can hold off a little bit. Dr. Memley, first of all, congratulations on the brand new book that was not out
Yay.
when we were on last time. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it for our audience. I have the Kindle edition here. Dr. Memley Talks, A Decade of Wisdom from Then Till Now. So let's start there. What has it been like for you to take what's been your message you didn't be able to share for over a decade to share it in the book now, Dr. Velma?
I'm laughing because, Cyrus, I'm still having memories pop up of older posts. I'm going, man, I missed that one. Man, I missed that one. It's so much that went into this particular project. I was just excited about it. I didn't realize, first of all, it had been 10 years. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just excited about all the things that I was able to include in the book. And of course, with the help that I had, I knew it was a big project. So I'm thankful that Listen Linda actually took over the project, processed it, formatted it. I mean, she did a lot of, Jacqueline Cox did a lot of work in it. So I'm glad I didn't have to do all of that because I was busy at the time, but I knew I needed to get this out there.
Yeah, yeah. So our audience can get it now, as I mentioned there. The Kindle edition is up for
Yes.
$5.99. You all can take advantage of that. Also, of course, you can see the audio book as well there too. But Dr. Velma, you've had a very busy year with publishing. I should let our audience see in the carousel there. Of course, I have the book Hold Your Head Up, Princess here. I'm going to highlight it
Yes.
for you guys over on the Amazon side. You all can get the Kindle edition for only 99 cents, as you guys can see there, as well as the print edition. Also, we have Finding Your Voice After Corporate Laryngitis came out this year. You all can see it there on Amazon. And My Yes to God. What has it been like for you to share these different messages, Dr. Bama, with your audiences and to see how different messages are resonating with different audiences?
It's interesting that when I participated in a couple of anthologies, it actually had me go back to some different places in my life. And I didn't realize those stories were there. Had I not participated in these anthologies, I probably would not have gone back there. But I did. And what it did for me, even me, is to realize those were very important moments because those are the moments that actually framed who I am even now, what I'm doing right now. And so I thought they were important stories to tell. And even with the focus on dating, relationships, and marriage, that's been what I thought would be the only platform, the only topic I would talk about. But going back to my growing up, going back to some of the experiences I had made me realize there's so many more stories to tell about my own personal life and why I became what I'm doing, what I am today.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that because I thought about when I was prepping for your show today. It is interesting that you have the ebook out there, Finding Your Voice After Corporate Laryngitis. We could really fill in the blank with a lot of different things. Finding your
Yeah,
voice after only talking about marriage, dating, and
yeah.
relationships. I mean, now, like you've done with this new book for a younger audience, what do you hope other people realize then, Dr. Bama, about the importance of not putting themselves in a box. A lot of times people would try to put us in a box, but we can
Mhm.
also put ourselves in a box. What do you hope people understand and appreciate about what you've learned?
You can see the connectivity to everything because everything is related to conversations I had with women regarding their self worth, their self esteem, poor self worth, basically. All of those conversations about making sure they embrace who they are, and even in holding your head up, princess, you'll see the same message in there. The things that I had to do to overcome some of the challenges I faced, the unfair judgments of who I was as a poor Black child growing up. When you're a kid, you're not thinking about those things that the world wants to say about you. You're
Yeah.
just trying to be a kid. And when I recognized all of that, and I realized again, those are those same things, making sure you maintain who you are, that you know that you're valuable, that you know that you're worth, that you know that you're supposed to be here, and holding on to all of that is important. And yet, here I am today, in many cases, talking to grown women about the same thing. So many people just don't value themselves as they should.
Mhm. Yeah. Wendy says on IG, "Woo, keeping up with Dr. Velma. It is a lot, isn't it?" There's a lot going on there. Has a lot going on there. But that's why we're glad that we're able to have her and her talk about her books that are either in print or, of course, the Kindle edition. You can easily be able to load up as well. Jacqueline, hello to you over there on Facebook. We were just talking about you a moment ago.
My
So,
publisher.
yeah. So Dr. Velma, I want to talk about understanding how to reach your audience because it's interesting. You've been able to in your books, even before the Catch series, which is how you and I connected initially, you were talking about dating and marriage, your own story with My 70s Love Story. You've shared that before.
Yeah.
And then you have, I think we may have it here in the carousel over on Amazon as well. There it is. Your Adam is Sleeping. Of course, in
Mhm.
that book as well. What was it like for you to go from writing nonfiction and talking about these topics to then going into the series with Grayson and Veronica and talking about that same topic in fiction?
But I think the honesty and truthfulness and transparency is still there in the fiction. Those stories are not um, so fictionalized that they appear to be unreal. They're very real. They're just weaved into a fictional story. Whereas nonfiction is just open. You're just telling everybody the truth. But fictional stories, at least the ones I write, are not fiction in the sense that they never happen or
Right.
they don't happen. So I tried to weave the truth in there so that people can relate to it, or resonate to the stories, or resonate with the problems that some of the characters were having. So for me, it was very comfortable
Yeah.
because I'm still weaving truth. Whereas nonfiction is you just being open and honest and transparent. You don't have to overcome any characterizations of who you use in your story. You're just telling about yourself or telling a true story. But I see them both the same. You're just using a different method.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that truth then. I'm going to highlight again for our audience there the wrong catch, which there's two of them here. But for our audience joining us on Amazon, I'm going to highlight the wrong catch. You guys will see there. I have mine right here. Uh, there you can see it. So this is one we're going to talk about for a second. Even though
Uh-huh.
the wrong catch shall tear down the house, Dr. Velma, the same thing is true. So here you have in the wrong catch and the wrong catch shall tear down the house, both men and women making the same mistake.
Yes.
That is one thinking that it's okay to ignore the red flags that are right in front of them,
Right.
and then act surprised by the disasters that can happen after that.
Yeah.
But two, judging people, right? I mean, we see the women talking about the truth, Dr. Velma,
Uh-huh.
and the wrong catch, the women judging the men. Oh, the women can change, but no, the men, they're just always going to be,
That's what
they're
they
always
think.
going to be bad. What was it like for you to kind of tackle that in these books to show that men and women have to be careful in one, how they see each other in relationships, but also two, where they choose to assign blame?
Well, the entire time I was working on the wrong catch, the very first book, I should say, The Catch No One Wants, my husband was over my shoulder. He said, men experience some of the same problems that the women do. I said, yeah, I know, I'll get to that. And then other male readers reached out to me. And so what I did was, in order to prepare that particular book, I went to the men and asked them, tell me, what are the challenges that you face? What were some of the things? And those actual surveys you'll find in the book, those were actual, so see, going back to fiction, those are actual surveys. Those are actual responses that I got from the men. So I decided just to put it in the book just the way they gave it to me. But I wanted the stories to be told to back up what they were saying, because it's so true. I've met many of the women they were talking about. I've seen them. And so, of course, to say that the men are always the problem is just false. It isn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find that it's more the women.
Yeah. I was going to say that one more time.
I found, based on my past 10 years, that it's more the women.
Okay. I just want to make, I didn't say that, y'all. I just wanted to
No,
make
you
sure
did
that.
not.
Okay. I just want to make sure, I like clarity, I just like to
And
make
I didn't get it off the top of my head, and I didn't make it up based on the years that I
sure. Right.
have been working with women and men. I find
Mhm.
that more women are the problem than the men.
And that leads us back to the Catch No One Wants. If you guys have not read this book in the series, we don't get to talk about Grayson and Veronica very much because Dr. Bama's written about so many other things.
Mhm.
But if you have not read this, I'm going to highlight for you guys in the carousel over on Amazon. So in this book, we're able to see how Veronica was one of those women who liked to just blame the men, but her father helped her understand the work she had to do. I want to talk about
Absolutely.
the work. It's been interesting for me, Dr. Velma, as a single guy, as I've had conversations with individuals like yourself and even marriage counselors, and some people don't like you to call it work when it comes to relationships. What are your thoughts about that? Is that the wording you use, or what do you see when it comes to what it takes for both the man and the woman in relationships? What verbiage do you like to use?
Those are statements from people who haven't been married. You
Okay.
don't understand that it is work and
Mhm.
it takes effort. Just like you would do to your job. You and I were talking about the things we were doing, what's kept us busy, that kind of, it's work. It
Mhm.
is the same in a relationship. You can't expect to grow a beautiful garden and you take no time to make sure you're cultivating it, making sure the sun gets to it, making sure it gets watered, removing the weeds. Marriages, sometimes you're removing weeds too. And so it takes work. And so I'm not going to apologize for using that verbiage, and I
Mhm.
will stick with that verbiage
Yeah.
because that's exactly what it takes. And so for people to think in terms of what, I mean, people get caught up with verbiage, words. I don't really want to use that word. I've heard one person say that a young lady told them that she wasn't sure about marriage because she doesn't want to lose herself. I'm going, what is this craziness out there? It all falls back to not understanding what really your role is.
Yeah.
God made man first,
Mhm.
then he made woman for him. So can we just stop right there
Right.
and drop the mic?
Yeah. There you go, Dr. Velma.
Yes.
Wendy says that she loves your writing style. She also was co-signing what I said. Earl says, what if you have no hook and no bait? I
What if
didn't
you
say this,
have
Dr. What if you
no
have no
hook?
hook and no bait? I, Dr. Velma.
Call me, doctor. Call me, doctor.
Berta says, so true. We often ignore the red flags. That is so true. And Jacqueline said earlier, I was blessed to have been able to have it firsthand, and I've learned so much through her wisdom. Talking about you,
Yeah,
Dr. Velma, and each page of
yeah.
this book, over 10 years of knowledge. Well, and I think this is the interesting thing, what we were talking about earlier, Dr. Velma, and that is
Mhm.
how I tell people I read a lot of books, hundreds of books every year,
No
as
hook.
I'm doing interviews like this, or even just for my own enjoyment. But what I've always thought was interesting is that fiction has a way of sometimes addressing the truth in a safer way for people. And it makes it easier and less judgmental for them because they're able to see these characters like Veronica and others, right? And say, okay, I can kind of relate to that more so than having to look at themselves. So I want to talk about what it was like for you to go from writing, because then you took a break from the Catch series to then, of course, releasing these other books like the one I have here, Hold Your Head Up, Princess. Now, as you mentioned, you wrote that as part of an anthology, but what was it like for you to expand on that story and to turn the spotlight on yourself, Dr. Velma?
That was easy. Writing stories about my own, experiences were very easy for me to do. What it did for me was to go back and reflect on what I actually experienced and how it relates, like I said earlier, to what I'm doing now. But it goes back to the importance of also continuing to understand that the story is not all told. The Catch series isn't over. There's more coming. And I'm actually working on a few things right now, some ideas right now, as it relates to whether or not you even have a hook or whether or not you're even worth being bait, as Dr. Earl said. So all of that is coming soon. So that's important to know.
Yeah. Miriam, hello to you over there on Facebook. She says greetings and best to you both. Appreciate that, Miriam.
No.
Glad to be able to see you. I want to go a little bit more into Hold Your Head Up, Princess, because I think there's an interesting message here, Dr. Velma, that quite honestly, I did not know about your story. I think that's why I think it's great for people to read it to kind of get
Yeah.
an idea of the makings of the person who's in front of us now,
Yes.
because you dealt with some adversity in different areas of your life, in different chapters of your life, not only in your youth, but also as
Mhm.
an adult. So, what was it like for you to think about, especially in the world we live in today? I mean, you were going through this before we had social media, before we had all the stuff that's out here now. What was it like for you to look at how you were able to deal with that adversity then, and also how our audience can deal with it now?
Well, some of the challenges I dealt with back then are still prevalent today. It just changed the stripes. That's all. It looks differently today, but it's still out there. And so it's important. And I'm happy that I was able to put this in book form because hopefully it'll resonate with other people because it still happens. I always chose the higher road, and I don't know where I got that from. Maybe it was from my mother, because I've always viewed her as a very strong woman, raising 7 kids on her own in a house that was very organized, never in disarray to have that many kids. We all had a function and a job to do. We did our assignments every day, whatever part of the house we were in charge of, or whatever we had to do, we did it every day. So our house was always organized. My mom worked 2 jobs. So maybe that was where I got it from. But I just wanted to make sure that I reflected all of that in my own stories when I became an adult and I faced what I was facing at the time. Remember, one of the things I said in the book was my first order of business was to graduate from high school. So I was a straight A student, and my first order of business was to get a job so that I can no longer rely upon my mother as my source of income. I wanted to relieve her of the responsibility of taking care of me. I felt I owed her that. I figured I could go to school at night. Community college was available, and so that was my route. At 19, I got my job working with state government as a secretary. I thought that was a happy event. Worked for an African American deputy administrator, and I was one of 3 secretaries in the building. But the other two secretaries weren't happy that I was there. And they made it very clear they weren't happy that I was there. And the one thing that my mother told me to do was to hold my head up unless I had something to be ashamed of. Now, that's the one thing I always carried with me. And sometimes I catch myself, even now, putting my head down because my head would be up. And so they wanted to make sure that my supervisor knew that they didn't like the fact that I walked through the office looking haughty, prideful, with my head up, not understanding why I did it because I was instructed to do it. And I thought that was okay to do because my mother told me to. And when my supervisor wrote it in my report, everything on my probationary report was perfect until she wrote that statement saying that they complained about me walking through the office looking haughty.
Mhm.
When I recognized that, that was my first time as a young adult being hit with something like that. All my life, I talked about what I experienced in school, all of that, different versions of discomfort. But in that particular moment, I decided because my job, my goal was still to take care of myself, to get off of my mom's payroll, is what I called it. I needed my job. So, what I decided to do was to focus on making sure I understood every equipment in the office. I sought out to ensure that I knew about everything, how it worked, how to fix it, how to make sure you correct it, how to run it, everything. That was my job. That's what I felt was my job. And as a result, My name was on everybody's mind in the office whenever something went down or something was not working properly. So I took it and made and turned it around so everybody began to view me differently than what they said about me. They began to get to know me better and understood that I was just simply a hard worker, and that overshadowed that negativity that was once said about me. And that's what I chose to do, and I continue to do that throughout my career.
Yeah. And it's a great reminder for all of us. So, Dr. Velma, that leads us to the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, because you have not one, but two podcasts that you're the host of. Dr. Velma Talks, just like the book, where you deal with dating, marriage, and relationships, but also finding your voice. You're gearing up now for the next season of Dr. Velma Talks. What can we expect this season?
Well, we decided this season to take four characters out of the series. So you got to make sure you have the series. I'll be talking about the characters, and I'm doing a SWOT analysis on them to show you why they kept choosing incorrectly.
Mhm.
So I know Dr. Earl would relate to that. The SWOT analysis, strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Why were these characters making wrong choices? So, for women, I'll take four characters out of the series, and I'm going to be looking at four male characters to show you the same thing concerning why they kept choosing wrong. And so, hopefully, you'll get to see why it's important to assess yourself to determine why you're making mistakes. It's easy to blame the other person, but
Right.
I always say turn the finger on yourself and find out why you're making those choices. It was never about the other person. It was always about you. So that's important.
Yeah. I love that. Say that again. It wasn't about the other person. It
It's
was
never
about
about the other person. It's always about you.
there
What
you go.
choices did you make in the matter?
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
And I think that's such a great reminder for so many areas of life, Dr. M,
Mhm.
not just in dating. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times we are quick to point the finger at other people when
Hmm.
things don't happen or when things don't work. So I love that message. Again, everyone, Dr. Velma Bagby has been our guest. Make sure you guys get her newest book that's a bestseller. I'm going to highlight again for you guys here. That is Dr. Velma Talks. You all can see it there on the Amazon side, A Decade of Wisdom from Then Till Now. Also, of course, her other books that she has, including this one, Hold Your Head Up, Princess. And, of course, you'll see the podcast in our carousel as well on the Amazon side. Now, if you guys are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you'll find the link that will bring you guys over to Amazon. Dr. Velma, how can our audience stay connected with you?
I'm on all these social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby. Make sure you also subscribe to my YouTube page because many of my podcast episodes, if you set the reminder, it will remind you when it's getting ready to air so you won't miss anything. So I appreciate it, Cyrus. Also, drvelmabagby.com, my website. You can subscribe there as well. But thank you so much, Cyrus, for having me today.
Well, always a pleasure. Always great things to talk about. Looking forward to our next chat together.
Thanks, Cyrus.
And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.